is United. It's Ignited.
That's the name of our podcast that we've created.
Ignited. Yeah. Yes. And we're live to talk about Punished by Rewards.
Yes, this chapter this week was all the things.
It was really good.
This chapter basically summarizes my first 2 years of conscious classroom management journey that I found out through multiple articles and research and programs and classes. And I just could have read this chapter.
Really?
Honestly, like that's what it all boiled down to for a lot of it. And like this whole self-discovery hero's journey. And I could have just read chapter 9 of Punished by Rewards.
So I'm gonna put in comments. I feel like it was kind of redundant. I feel like I made a lot of these connections while we were reading it. And he would mention like, well, if you're using rewards to like incentivize being a good human being, what do you think it's going to do to the motivation of like altruistic behavior? What do you think it's going to do to like motivating actually being a good human being? I don't know. Let's start though. We're trying to cut these episodes down so they're not like an hour and 10 minutes. But we just love to talk. We love to talk so much.
Yeah, we're not the most is it short-winded?
Yeah.
Is that what it's called? We're not that. We're long-winded.
We're long.
Yes, we love the wind. And that's why we're long-winded right there. All right, let's get a timer. All right, okay.
That is our next t-shirt.
We love the wind.
Okay, I'm putting the book in the chat. The book is Punished by Rewards, so we're talking about chapter.
You're gonna activate my laughing tears.
Oh man, no, that was like I'm genuinely like feeling in my gut laughing.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm gonna put the sign down. Let's get real now.
Let's get real. Okay, 2-minute summary. Are you going first?
I'm going first.
Oh wait, do we want to intro though? Like, hey.
Don't we have one that we recorded that's awful?
Yes. But we always say, and I'm
Brittany. Let's go for it live. Okay, you ready, Brittany? We can use the acrostic poem
Shut
again.
up. Oh my god, okay, let's do it. All right, you know it.
You're gonna watch
on our 30-minute episode. Okay.
One of these times we're gonna keep the recording of us because we're gonna get this intro down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe we just try it every time. Okay.
So
we don't do the whole thing together. We just you start it.
Okay, I'm gonna start it. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Hi, I'm Ashlyn.
I'm Brittany.
And we are podcast. Any of the acrostic poem.
No, dude.
And we are the Ignited podcast. All right. Well,
we are not going to do this live. That was just that was a piece of entertainment for you all. You're welcome.
Yes. And now you can see why the intro that we actually have, if you listen on Spotify, that was the best option.
It was fantastic.
That was attempt like 30.
It was. Okay, so the book is Punished by Rewards. We're doing 2-minute summaries. 2 minutes. And you start, right? I started last time. Huh?
Yeah, I'm going to start, but I just love the irony of how we are like, this is going to be our short episode. And we're 4 minutes in and have not summarized anything.
No.
All right, see? That's why we love the wind.
We love the wind. Okay, let me get the timer up.
All right.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
3, 2, 1.
All right. In chapter 9 of Punished by Rewards, it's called Bribes for Behaving. Why behaviorism doesn't help children become good people. And it dives into how when we are rewarding or punishing kids, it's not teaching the thing that we actually want to teach through the rewarding and the punishing of kids. Like it talked about how adults, teachers, families alike, we want our kids to be compassionate. We want them to be leaders and to be good citizens and self-reliant. And so when they make a mistake or they do something wrong and we punish or we reward, it makes it seem like we are pushing them in that direction. But the research has shown actually quite the opposite, that when you punish or when you reward, you are decreasing the chance that child is actually going to reach those milestones and have that intrinsic motivation. And so in the chapter, it dives into the ways in which rewards do that. And it talks about kind of this false dichotomy we have where, well, if a kid does something wrong, you either punish them or you do nothing or you reward them. And like those are your only three options. But really, you can have a conversation. There's so much more that we can do to help support kids. And like you can be warm and you can be caring while also having limits and boundaries. And then finally, toward the end of the chapter, it talks about how we want to raise kids with them thinking about what kind of person do they want to be and what kind of classroom or school do we want to have with our approach to managing their behavior. And I'm done early, Britt.
All
Look at
right.
that.
Look at you. Okay, let's do
You
this.
ready? All right.
Got to do my pre-summary stretches. Okay,
I love it.
I know.
All right. On your mark, get set, go.
Okay, chapter 9, bribes for behaving. This chapter summarized pretty much the entire book when it came to what rewards do for kids. It did discuss more of what punishments do, where it didn't talk about punishments in the book so much, and it really hit on the like the after effects of punishments and what it does mentally to people and to children and the long-term effects of them. It said specifically that people who are punished tend to be more controlling. They tend to resort to punishing behaviors, and they tend to um, not teach anything, but emphasize like the power hierarchy that leaves the children more aggressive and less likely to do what they need to do when the person that's in control isn't there. Then he moves to rewards and he summarizes everything that he pretty much talked about in the book and what rewards do long term, like the long term impacts on rewards and what they do to children and how it kills motivation and it makes them less likely to do the behavior that you want them to if you remove the reward. And then he discusses how if we reward kids for altruistic behavior and reward them into being a good person, that it can actually make them feel like they're not good people. They're only doing these good actions because of a reward that's placed upon them.
And that's time.
Oh, okay. All right. That wasn't bad.
Right. We brought a nice mixture into those
Right.
summaries.
Yeah, like I liked how he talked about punishments here. I mean, I feel like I work in special education and punishments have been out for so long. I don't know if
Yeah.
teachers are really using them. It's kind of, I think, across the board understood that punishments aren't
Yeah,
effective.
but I also think that we definitely can. I'd be interested to hear what people think who listen to this as well, because I
Mm.
feel like no school is going to be like, "Oh, this is our punishment system." But
Yeah,
when
like
things
Miss
come
Trunchbull.
down to it, they might resort back to the punishments that seem like they're not corporal punishment, you know?
Yeah.
But like, oh, stand on the fence at recess. That's
Yeah.
punishment, you know? Or sit by yourself in the cafeteria.
Right, right.
You know, I feel like we would resort to things like that,
Yeah.
which I think Alfie would still say is punishment,
Well,
right?
yeah. Well, he talks about like logical consequences
Mhm.
and then what did he call it? Assertive discipline.
Yeah.
And the difference between the two which we're going to get I think we get into. We'll talk about
Yeah.
logical consequences.
And the assertive discipline too is interesting because I've never heard it called that. I've always heard authoritarian. Have you heard assertive before?
Mhm. Um, well, I think assertive discipline is different than
Oh,
authoritarian
that's
in
true. It's
some
like the
ways.
style versus the
Yeah.
discipline. That makes
Yeah.
sense. That tracks. So, the first thing to talk about is that false dichotomy and also the false trifecta. So, Brittany and I were talking about what, in our notes, like what I meant by the false dichotomy. But when we were summarizing, Brittany, I remembered. So, we kind of view that you either are permissive of behaviors or you
Mhm.
punish them.
Yeah.
And those are only two solutions
Mhm.
to managing a child when they do something wrong.
Yeah.
And now we have that trifecta added where you could also reward them into doing the
Mhm.
right thing and then take the reward away if they don't do it.
Yep.
Which we know is also like the same thing as punishing, just different side of the same coin.
Mhm.
So those are like the three systems that we see often happening in schools. And for me personally, I've talked about this before, how it can feel so easy. I'm curious to hear how you feel about this too, especially coming out of using rewards so regularly.
Mhm.
But I feel like it can be so easy when you are feeling heightened and you're dysregulated as a teacher
Mhm.
and a kid starting with some kind of behavior to want to resort to something like
Oh,
that.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, well, we know that when we're triggered and our stress response is activated, that we no longer have access to our problem-solving part of our brain, right?
Hmm.
So, we're going to become reactionary, and that's why I emphasize in so many reels that I create that we
Yeah.
have to manage our own triggers, because if we can remain using our frontal lobe instead of, that amygdala,
Hmm.
then we can prevent the behaviors because we can analyze them and we can problem solve them and we can detach ourselves, like our emotional response. So it's becoming like a detective.
Yeah. And that's the thing too with regulation, because I did a training on this in my membership, not membership, my mentorship a
Hmm.
few weeks ago about how with regulation, I think we sometimes view it as, oh, I need to be regulated. Like I have to be calm.
Mm.
When in reality, regulation is the pathway to calm.
Oh, yeah.
And it is recognizing when you are feeling heightened and your stress response is activated. I have to bring myself down from that
Hmm.
and modeling that. And
Hmm.
that's the regulation moment, having the emotion
Yeah.
and then coming down from it.
Yeah. Just a lot of the regulation happens when we just recognize,
Hmm.
and
That's
then we
true.
become more in control.
And you connect, which is funny because I feel like we grasp for control in so many other ways
Mhm.
without actually putting ourselves back in the position where we can be in control of our own body.
Yeah, in our
Um,
own mind.
I wanted to ask you though, so
Mhm.
coming out of using rewards regularly, because now
Mhm.
are you still using it with any classes?
No.
Oh, you've
Yeah.
broken out entirely.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Um, for anybody that's new, I started, stepping away from, like, our reward system, um, and now I don't even do the points anymore. I used to do the points. We have a point system where we give a point to each child for safe, responsible, respectful. We have, teacher assistants because I work in a special education building, so a center-based program, um, and I've been leaving it up to them. They still have to do the points. We can't
Mm.
escape that because they send a point sheet home with them, but I have separated myself from doing the points, and I just give specific feedback. So if a student does something that isn't responsible, I say, "Hey, that wasn't responsible. This is why." But I've stepped away from doing the point sheets because that's what they are. They're point sheets.
Mhm.
Uh-oh. Oh, sorry. My computer went to sleep.
Oh,
I'm back.
we're still here.
We're still here. Okay.
I was like, did something happen in your story? Like, tell me more.
No, no, no. No. And yeah, so I do just my celebration, and I do that the last Friday of every month, and I do it with every class. And I do have it so, like, if they haven't completed, like, the work that I need them to do, I have them complete the work before. I Also, I was pulling them for recess to discuss expectations, and I've even stopped doing that so much that now I just I pull them whenever they're free to discuss, like, what is a plan? Like, this is the issue. Why is it happening? And what do you need for me to help support you during this
Mhm.
time? And I have had 2 kids so far, and their plan is now, instead of cussing a student out, because they'll just go off.
Mhm.
So their goal is to, grab headphones and iPad and go into the break area and listen to music. Like, and even if they are cussing, they have to shape that behavior.
Yeah.
So I'm I my job as their, like, coach is to be just gently guiding them to go get your headphones, go get your iPad, go to the break area. And that has been incredibly successful because it's not like me telling you need to do this, you need to do this. It was their idea and they've owned that. And so they've used that to get away from like the other kids who are like bullying them or
Yeah.
sending them off, because with that classroom the classroom dynamic is really 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 aggressive. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that's my experience with removing rewards. I definitely feel like I've gotten to know more of the kids because now I'm pulling them to
Yeah.
actually discuss what's going on.
And it makes a huge difference having those conversations,
Oh, yeah.
you
Yeah.
know? Like, even today, so I messaged Brittany and I was like, "It has been an
Mm.
afternoon, Brittany, okay?"
Mhm.
I'll go into more of the details with you afterwards, but it
Mm.
was brought to us by a vomit 10 minutes before the bell rang at the end of the day. Projectile all over my room, all over everything, computer, a child, 3 desks, floor, everything, right? So that was like going into this conversation. But that's not even what the story's about, okay? The
Yeah.
story is about a child who was cheating on an assignment. And so I've been staying with them to tutor them after school for just a little bit every day this week
Mhm.
and get them caught up in that subject and give them some more confidence. And so today they were staying after with me and they wanted to get this game back that was confiscated from them by one of the administrators. And so they're not communicating this to me though. They are just like kind of walking away from me. And I am like ready to hurl because of the smell that was in my room. So I'm like, all right, just go then and we'll deal with it on Monday.
Yeah.
And I'm walking up the stairs and I'm like, yeah, like they could just like have whatever office consequence they're going to get if they don't come, like whatever. I feel so sick right now. And like I go sit down and I'm like, I need some water, I need some ginger. And then somehow this kid makes their way back up to me. I have no idea how they got back into the building, truthfully,
Mhm.
but they made their way back up to me, all upset about this game. And in that moment, I wanted to be like, just leave. Like, you've already had your chance to like stay with me and talk to me. Like, maybe I could have helped you get the game back, but you were like, you literally walked away when I was talking to you. So why would I want to do that now?
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, drink some water, Ashlyn. Drink some water.
Yeah.
Regulate yourself right now.
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, I know it's frustrating not having the game. The teacher is going to give it to him, was not here today. And so I was like, it gets frustrating. Um, I could help you with that, but you have not clearly communicated with me yet.
Uh-huh.
So let's go back through, clearly communicate. And we took this whole time, and it was such a meaningful conversation that we had. And the kid, like, genuinely was like, oh, yeah, this is what I should do. And we had like this great moment afterwards, and we like preserved our relationship. Like, it went so
Mhm.
smoothly. And the kid still didn't go home with the game because the teacher wasn't there. But
Mm.
he went home being like, I still feel angry. And I was like, yeah, but so you communicated that? And he's like, yeah, like
Yeah.
I'm still excited for the weekend. Like he was still like happy about something that happened. And he was like still
Yeah.
walking with the anger and not losing it like before,
Mhm.
And those are skills that we teach gradually.
Yes, yes, and a lot of those skills,
Mhm.
like, happen with conversations and not
Exactly.
with systems, not with rewards, not with punishments. Those happen with relationships. just like having someone hear you.
Yeah.
Mm,
And be like, the thing I like to say to the kids is your message is lost in your delivery.
yeah.
Like, you could advocate for yourself, but you need to know how to express yourself in a way someone's going to be able to access.
Yeah.
Because if you go over to an
Absolutely.
administrator yelling, I want this, or I'm not going to listen to you if you don't give me this,
Mhm.
you're not going to be able to get your point across. And it got me thinking too about how I don't think that's normalized. Like not letting, but like having a kid speak to you all heightened and you
Mhm.
not, I'm putting it in quotes, put them in their place.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Because you're letting a child talk to you like that.
Well,
When really, like, how are they going to learn if we
right.
don't show them how to do it in the moment too, and before when we're able to, but in the moment, being there to support them.
Yeah, and he mentioned something like that,
Mhm.
that a lot of these systems are designed just to make or give the teacher a feeling of like a sense of control.
Yeah, there were 3 things, right, that he said these systems do.
Yeah, well that was towards the end. Um Parents finally. So he says first rewards punish, second rewards rupture relationships. And that, I mean, he is kind of he's talking about parent-child relationships, but it's totally
Mhm.
applicable to what we do in the classroom.
Yeah.
Third, rewards ignore reasons. And finally, rewards reduce the child's desire to act in a particular way. That's why I said like this chapter was a lot of just it was just a summary, and then he was applying those theories like or applying that lens to trying to motivate kids to be
Mhm.
responsible, respectful people of society. Like, you can't reward a kid into being kind. You can't
No.
reward a kid into being caring. Like, those are just things that we want to do because we feel good about who we are and we feel good about like the people we're around. Like, we feel like we're in a community.
Mhm.
But if you're being controlled, you're not going to feel like you're a part. You're going to feel like you're like, I don't know, like you're an inconvenience.
Yeah.
You're like,
You're going to feel that. I feel like I'm saying feel so many times. I feel like
feel.
we've all probably felt that.
Mhm,
If you've had a boss that's micromanaged you,
mhm.
or if you're having a conflict with like an administrator and you
Yeah.
can feel them like look at you in a different way, you know?
Well, and he talks about an exercise that he does, when he's in a workshop with teachers,
Yeah.
and he says, "Close your eyes, return to your childhood, and think of a time when you were accused of doing something bad. Recall the alleged misbehavior as specifically as you can, as well as what the adult in question did or said to you and how it made you feel. What constantly impresses me when I ask people to remember such incidents is how vivid the recollections are, as if the event happened last week instead of many years ago." So, and I talk about this too. I think I
Yeah.
can't if I've posted the reel or not yet, but I talk about this, and like we grew up in a system that was super controlling that none of us liked, or a lot of us didn't like. Maybe you liked it. I don't know.
I don't
I
like
didn't.
it.
I didn't like it. Um, Yet it's the same system that we're using on kids, and then we're like, why don't they like it? Like, how did that? You know, when did that get lost in translation? Like, when did we call it the Peter Pan effect? Almost like we grow up and we forget what it was like for us.
Well, I think you default as well. You
Hmm.
know, like you default to what you grew up with, and this is the norm,
Hmm.
you
We
know?
we have 5 more minutes.
Oh, dang.
I know.
We're
Can
not
we?
gonna be able to make that. I don't think we're gonna make that. 5 more
No.
minutes?
Yeah.
No.
I mean that if that's our goal, 30-minute episode. Look at us. Okay, hold on.
Okay.
So if you had one thing to talk about in this chapter, in like we have 5 minutes, what would it be?
Well, I think the thing that Oh, there's a couple things though. There's a couple of things.
I know.
I think the responsibility component of how like our rewards and punishments actually take the responsibility out of a child. It makes it feel like something's happening to them
Mhm.
and not something they have a say over.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that's what I saw today when this kid was just like yelling at me all of these things that he felt like all these administrators were saying or these teachers were doing.
Mm.
And he had no responsibility for it because he
Mhm.
brought his Fortnite gaming system into school and was trying to play during a transition.
Yeah.
Um,
It's everybody
so
else's fault.
yeah, exactly. And like the punishments and rewards can make it seem like, well, everybody's doing this to them.
To me,
And they
because
can
everybody is.
Yeah, and they can take their involvement out.
Yep. There's
Or
no
like even the reason why he was there with me is to make up an assignment where he was cheating.
Mhm.
And that first conversation too, it still was removing responsibility.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what did I say? I don't even remember what I said, but the conversation we had today was like, do you see what your actions did now? Because now we're going back and replacing all these grades.
Mhm.
And we are improving them. We're working on it together.
Mhm.
And I'm like, do you see how your actions are showing that you are understanding the content now? And the kid was like, yeah, like now I'm studying, like now I'm reading the textbook, and now I'm like
Mhm.
paying attention in class, like I'm writing in my journal about the stuff we're learning. I'm like, yeah, those are the actions that are leading you to the result you want, which is understanding the text.
Yeah. And that's all within your control.
Exactly. That's
You
what you
can control
do.
that.
And it's funny too, because when they ended up getting a perfect score on the last assignment that we did, and I was like, who did that? And he pointed at me. I'm like, no, I didn't do that. That
Yeah.
was you. And he was like, oh, yeah, I guess it was.
So a lot of kids with ADHD or neurodivergencies, they get their behavior gets mistaken for disobedience, or just like it's their choice, like they're
Mm-hmm.
choosing to do the behavior when really it is a manifestation of their disability. And if we punish a behavior that's literally their disability, we teach them to be helpless,
Yeah.
because then they feel like, oh, well, I can't control this. They are like they're thinking that I can control it, so they're punishing me for it. Well, everything's outside of my control now, like, because I can't control my disability and I can't control whether they're going to punish me for it or not. So I'm going to give you something to punish me about. Or like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do something stupid, like play a Fortnite game, because I'm going to get in trouble
I mean,
anyway.
honestly, that was really ambitious. Like, my first thought was ambition. It's 2 minutes. It's
Like,
2
I'm not
minutes.
even angry, man. I'm impressed.
Yeah, like it's 2 minutes on the Chromebook. You only have 2 arms, and we
Yeah,
had a computer. We had so many things. I don't know
that's
how
so
this
funny.
happened. I'm trying to visualize how they walked down the hallway carrying everything. Like I cannot remember how this all worked out. Like they had
Yeah,
like a spread with a binder.
yeah.
A
Man,
lot
I
of
bet that
effort.
kid is he clumsy too?
You
Is he a
know,
clumsy
that's
kid?
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. Like, I'm like, "Oh my god, dude, you just carried that all here and you didn't drop a thing?" Like, you can't even carry your mouse from one classroom to another. Like
The things that fall every single day, honestly.
Yeah.
Today I was talking about it, like a water bottle falling over, and then immediately after I finished that, someone's water bottle fell over.
Yeah. Oh,
That's what gets
man, it
me.
was terrible with the aluminum water bottles.
Yeah, when they first
Like
came back
Yeah.
after the pandemic.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
feel like now I'm desensitized to the clang on the floor. But anyways, even when you were saying before with how we make these kids seem like, oh, it's their choice to misbehave if we're punishing their disability,
Yeah.
even if there's a kid and they are choosing to do something, I feel like, oh, well, they're choosing to misbehave is also used as an excuse to now we punish because they
Mhm.
chose that.
Yeah.
When really our conversation should be, why are they choosing that?
Yeah. Yes, yes, and, we just have to get completely out of the framework or the mindset of it being a choice at all,
Mm-hmm.
because that typically leads to us um like mishandling the behavior and making it worse.
Yeah.
But okay, so we're at 30 minutes. You want to do like one quote that really stuck out to you?
Yeah, but I want to hear what your one thing is. If you could only mention one more thing on the podcast.
Ooh, okay, hold on. So, cannot change. Let's see here. So, sums up. I'm gonna do a couple quotes. Often judged. So, the first quote, good values, and this is on page 161. Good values have to be grown from the inside out. Praise and privileges and punishments can change behavior for a while, but they cannot change the person who engages in the behavior, at least not in the way we want.
Mm-hmm.
And then um, page 174. And page 175. Okay, page 174. Children who come to believe that their pro-social behavior reflects values or dispositions in themselves have internal structures that can generate behavior across settings and without external pressures. So, what that means is children who believe that their pro-social behaviors reflect who they are
Mm-hmm.
and not and they're not reflective of what's being done to them, like it's what their mom wants, or it's what's going to get them more time on the Xbox, or it's going to get them a Boy Scout badge. If they believe that it's who they are, they're more likely to have those pro-social behaviors across settings, and whether they're being observed from by an authority figure or not.
And this seems like such a missing piece.
Mm-hmm.
We need to be like, who are you?
Yes. Yeah.
And it's funny because today I saw a post. No, maybe it was in here. I think it was in the book. It said that something along the lines, I'm paraphrasing now, but there was like a survey conducted of students being asked what you think your teacher wants from you.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna
Yeah,
ask.
I
Yeah.
did it with one of my sections today.
Uh-huh.
And I was so happy with the result.
Were you?
Yeah, they
highlighted
were like,
that.
we think that you want us to take ourselves seriously and to value our education and
Uh-huh.
to try to create the best version of ourselves every day.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I'm so glad that you said that. That's exactly what I want.
Yeah.
Because I tell them every day, like, you're building who you want to be. So who do you want to be?
Yeah, so the quote is when fourth graders in a variety of classrooms representing a range of teaching styles and socioeconomic backgrounds were asked what their teachers most wanted them to do, they didn't say ask thoughtful questions or make responsible decisions or help others. They said, be quiet, don't fool around, and get our work done on time. Like, so now I want to ask.
Yeah.
I'm going to. Yeah. That's a good quote.
It is a good quote.
What would be your action steps?
That to ask your
Yeah.
students
Yeah.
what I have to figure out my pronouns here. Ask your students what they think you want out of them,
Mm-hmm.
or you want them to be, or what you want from them.
Wanted them to do, yeah.
Yeah, what you want them to do.
Yeah. And see what they say.
Mm-hmm.
I like that action step. Can that be both of ours?
That can be both of ours. We can
Yeah.
double dip.
Yeah. So that's what you all need to do next week, or if you're on spring break like me.
Oh,
I know. I'm
show
so
off.
Then whenever you get back into school, ask your students, what do they think you want from them? Like, what do they think you want them to do? Or teachers in general.
Mm.
Maybe do both.
It'd be interesting for admin to do that for us as well.
Oh yeah. Dude,
Yeah.
that's why I texted you this morning. I was like, we got to do a workshop with admin, boo.
Yeah. And there's that thumbs up. Your
Not when I
automations
actually
also
do the
agree.
thumbs up. Yeah. All right. 35 minutes and 28 seconds.
Wow. Never been done before.
Yeah.
By us, at least.
I know. Well, there was so much more to talk about, but
There
we're
is.
really trying to not make people fall asleep. Could we do that? I don't think
Make
so.
people fall asleep.
Yeah, I think I'm really entertaining.
I think that we are very entertaining.
Yeah.
I think my voice is also the kind of voice that doesn't lull someone to sleep.
I don't know. I was just thinking, like, I could probably listen to Ashlyn read a book and I could go to sleep.
Really?
Mhm.
Well, that's
Yeah.
not good.
Did you
'cause I'm an
hear
English
that?
teacher. I'm an English teacher. That's what I do.
So
No,
if your
I'm-
kids are awake, then you're nailing it.
I'm actually very theatrical when I read books. Like
Yeah.
right now, we're reading The Cyclops from the Odyssey.
Oh,
And it's so
God.
funny watching the kids too, because like I will act out and I'll be like, Poseidon, why would you do this? And I see the kids like doing this in their
That's
desks
funny.
too, like they're acting out with me because I have them acted out. It's really
I
fun.
love it. Yeah, because that's multiple modalities of learning.
Yeah.
Hey, look at us.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Well, that is this week's episode. Should we do the comments right now before we do our beautiful sign off?
Yeah.
I don't know if we
sure.
have comments. I can't even see my go live stuff. I don't see anything.
Well, why don't let's do our sign off and then do
End of the
comments.
comments? All right, let's do it. All right. So that was this week's episode. Until next time, we hope that you feel ignited and that you leave this podcast feeling remoralized.
I'm Brittany.
No,
And
Brittany.
re-energized.
No. You knew what you were doing. You knew what you were doing.
No. Because I'm like, is she gonna do it all, or am I gonna have to do something? And what do I say? Oh shoot, I don't know what I say. What do I say? We hope you
There's
leave.
no
We hope
acrostic
you
home for
leave this
one.
reignited and
Okay.
remoralized.
I think we say we are the Ignited Podcast, but we
Yeah.
can't say that in unison. We try. We want to try right now.
We are the United.
Okay. No, we're
See,
not
I can say United.
This
Okay.
is quite the sign off. I don't know if anybody's listening still. Okay, you ready?
Yeah. We are the
Ignited
Podcast.
And we hope this podcast left you feeling remoralized
And re-energized.
And until next time,
I'm Brittany. I don't know what I'm supposed to say.
I think that's how we close.
All right, everybody. Enjoy your spring break. And if you don't have one, that sucks. I'm just kidding. Enjoy your
That's how we
weekend.
close.